The following is a production of Fenix Media. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the company or its advertisers and may contain language that's unsuitable for younger listeners.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.
I'm about to do to you what Limp Bizkit did to music in the late 90s.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Here goes the last DJ.
Gentlemen, I wash my hands of this weirdness.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another brand new episode of the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. It is Friday, January 8th. We're your daily dose of laughs and levity in a crazy, crazy world. I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Tony Sanfilippo. Tony, how you doing this morning?
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm doing great, Kristian. It's Friday. The week is flying by. It's been a good week back on the air, and feeling good this morning. Feeling good.
Good, and we got you set up where we initially intended to get you set up with a little geeky backdrop and not sort of crammed into the corner, but we
Right,
had to
in the
find
studio.
the right cable.
The
for
cable.
that.
You wouldn't think that finding a cable would be so flippin' hard. We're just talking like an extender auxiliary cable. It's not nothing hard. We joked about how we wish there was a Radio Shack yesterday. Going to Best Buy seemed to be a chore, and then bounced between three Walmarts before we found an extended cable. Here we go. I got plenty of room. I joked I could get to outside the studio to the Christmas tree.
Yeah, the cable itself is about 3 miles long.
Yeah, it's pretty damn long. It was more than I needed, but it's all good. Ready for a fun show, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and kick things off the way we do each and every day with a question for my co-host, Tony. We know that, especially during the show, you've had your fair share of utility workers outside your apartment complex making all sorts of noise and being there probably a little too early. Have you ever thought about taking it out on them or taking your revenge?
Oh God, no. It's one of those things. It's just an annoyance, especially there ain't much you can do. You trash, the trash service comes out in the morning, gets your stuff. If anything, back when I used to have to roll trash cans out, it was more of a panic. If I heard them and I was like, oh crap, I didn't put the trash out. And that's the week where your trash can's overflowing or something. So for me, no, I've never thought about it. I haven't been that annoyed.
Most people
frustrated with the internet when they closed my thing during the show. Yes, frustrated, but never revenge. No.
Yeah, and most people wouldn't, but in this case, because we like to ramp things up,
Rampant.
This guy did. So a man is in custody after allegedly using a skid steer in a confrontation with utility workers in Meeker County. The man is accused of using a Bobcat skid steer. Boy, that's a tongue twister. Skid steer. To try and flip over equipment the utility workers were using, then threatening to overturn their work trucks. Deputies responding to the report located the man while he was on his way back to his house. The 67-year-old, who was believed to be under the influence of alcohol, was arrested and booked into the Meeker County Jail on pending charges of second-degree assault, disorderly conduct, and DUI. According to the sheriff's office, the man was upset the workers were there, so he confronted them. Okay.
Insert that Tony Stark emoji, though.
The roll in the eyes.
Yeah, the roll in the eyes.
Workers have to go out. They have to do their thing. It does it say what time it was?
Don't you ever wake me up at 8 in the morning when I'm having dreams with me and Chrissy Teigen. I'm dreaming.
And it was 10 o'clock in the morning. I mean, it'd be
Get
one thing
over
if they were
yourself,
at 6 o'clock in the morning, or some work crews, especially if it's on highways, they do overnights. They do construction in the middle of the night. But if your house is close to a highway, then you're
asking for it.
Exactly.
You what to expect. And It's the same in the neighborhoods. I don't know if you have the problem where when I had my house, sometimes people were really up and early, ready to mow their lawn, like at 7 in the morning. That used to annoy me.
Yeah.
I used to be like, dude, really? Could you wait till 8? But, it's all good, though. It's not enough to want to get revenge. You just get annoyed. You're just like, ugh.
Yeah. And we're lucky enough here that, I'm sort of in a corner spot, nobody to the back of me. And so it is pretty quiet around here. So we don't get most of those sorts of annoyances.
Yeah, you don't have a lot from like my Fort Collins studio with the Ram Jams and the and the up and down kids. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unless we've got guests here who are ram jamming and the kids are here going up and down. But
Ram jamming!
But it's funny you mentioned the garbage truck, because a couple weeks ago when it was the recyclable day, and of course it was right after Christmas, figured, you know what, I'll put the recyclables out after the show. Well, they came during the middle of the show and didn't get to it in time.
No.
So our recyclables overflowed for a little bit.
Gotcha. Do you guys have one of those where it's only a couple times a month they come and pick it up?
It's every other week for the recyclables.
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha. Yeah, that's how it used to be where I was. It was like if you missed the recycle day, you were hosed. So that was like the one you wanted to really hit, because
Exactly.
trash was weekly, recycle was bi-weekly, which is strange. You think they'd just do both, like
Right.
just get it out.
And we have enough recycling for it to be weekly, but
yeah,
that's the way it goes. Well, folks, we have a wonderful show lined up for you today. Let's talk about today's show, shall we?
It's Friday, gotta get down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend.
We are looking forward to the weekend, but not before we bring you good news, everyone. We have a segment called Wake Up. We have our call-in topic, which is the best time travel movie. I'm looking forward to that. We have G-Man's matchups, NFL Wildcard weekend. We close out the day with This Day in History, and Tony is up next with the entertainment news. Folks, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all gotta see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan. We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
idea how to find each other.
The whole experience was
the
fine.
most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in '09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m., and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at fenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix radio show over at fenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. And we are back, folks. This is the Kristian Fenix radio show. It is Friday, January 8th. Now we have this little thing we call the Fenix Line. It is our 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week voicemail line, inviting you guys, the listeners and watchers, to chime in on anything whatsoever. Maybe you took your revenge on some work cruise with a skid steer. We want to hear about it. Give us a call at 855-Fenix-Radio.
And here's your Filippo Fast Five. ER actor Darren Deezer D. Thompson passed away at the age of 55. Marion Ramsey of Police Academy fame passed away at 73. So starting it out sad with 2 deaths. So I'm not going to go any more deaths here.
Fatality.
Yes. Johnny Depp's Hollywood Hills home was broken into over the weekend, according to police, and while the suspect fled the scene before police arrived, a suspect was apprehended shortly after the break-in triggered the home's alarm system. People are always trying to attack when they know they're not home.
I know.
It's crazy. Roku acquires former Quibi series from Chrissy Teigen, Idris Elba, Reno 911, and more. So I guess Quibi stuff will live on.
Even though Quibi's dead.
Yeah. Who would have thought that Quibi was the way to go anyways? Quibi. I'm going to go to a network called Quibi. Yeah. And Denver Broncos CEO Joe Ellis is leaving his position in 2022. Woo! Adios,
Good
amigo. Good news, everybody. It is a Good News Friday. And I want to keep it in the realm of sports since it is a football Friday kind of with Grady. The G-Man will be here later. But the big news lately has been Deshaun Watson. He's extremely unhappy with the Texans. A little over an hour after a report surfaced that the Texans were hiring Nick Cesaro as general manager on Tuesday, Deshaun Watson tweeted and later deleted what seemed to his displeasure with the choice. Some things never change, Watson wrote. The quarterback is extremely unhappy with the organization and not answering calls from the Texans front office, Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network reports. This has nothing to do with the actual hire of GM Nick Cesaro. It has to do with the process. Owner Cal McNair promised Watson he would be involved in the process of hiring a new GM and a new head coach to replace Bill O'Brien, who held both titles before being fired in October. The Texans did not consult Watson for his feedback before hiring Cesaro. Mike Florio reported earlier in the day rumors are circulating that Watson was broached with his teammates with the possibility of requesting a trade. Later in the day, following a report out of Houston that the Texans won't trade Watson if he asks for it. The sides obviously are at odds, leaving the Texans in a position to make sure that Watson is on board with the hiring of the new head coach. Unless, of course, he is already past the point of making up and desires to move on, then what? So with that, that craziness out there, I know big stars get unhappy at times, but you think about a lot of the things of the Texans. Like, I don't think like J.J. Watt will be back next season. I mean, you look at the bonehead things, like they traded away. Oh my! I'm blanking on the amazing receiver that went to the Cardinals.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Thank you. Like, you get rid of his favorite target, and I mean, you just think about like the King's ransom, like their 3rd round pick this year. They traded away to the Dolphins. So the Dolphins, who have a winning season, even though they missed the playoffs, which is sad because they did really well, but they have the 3rd round pick or the third draft in the pick, or in the 3rd pick in the draft this year. So
there you go.
So it's good. You know, words are hard. Figuring it out is hard with. But if this happens, what do you think?
Well, I'm a little torn on it because I don't think that Deshaun Watson is a big enough quarterback superstar to sort of make those demands on hiring decisions, especially at the GM level. Maybe at the head coach level, because that's somebody that he has to interact with on a daily basis. But, the fact that he's a decent quarterback, he's good. He's not, Tom Brady level. He's, you would give that right to Tom Brady. You would give that to Drew Brees, maybe not Deshaun Watson. So if he does leave the Texans and comes over to the Broncos, which you sent me that article yesterday, hopefully they keep him in check and he doesn't become a little bit of a diva once he gets.
Yeah, well, I would love to have, no offense to Drew Lock, but I would take him over Drew.
I'd take just about anybody over Drew Lock right now. So
I just think it would be like in our division, you got to compete against Herbert and Mahomes, and who knows, like if Mariota is the guy in Nevada,
Vegas,
Vegas. So
you almost said Oakland, didn't you?
Yeah, and then I was like, I was just gonna say the Raiders. I should just say the Raiders. So some exciting things. The likeliness of him actually suiting up for the Broncos, slim to none. Right. But, hey, you got to at least take the chance if he's going to put himself out for a trade. You figure out what it is, and we definitely need a quarterback. So do what you got to do, Mr. Elway, on your way out. And Ellis. Anyways, that's your sports talk. Let's go on to actual entertainment news here. Kevin Smith shares an update on Clerks 3. As obviously we know, Kevin Smith is known for helming many comedies, but it was Clerks that started it all back in 1994. The movie is currently available to watch on HBO Max. Thanks for the shameless plug. And Smith often shares fun behind-the-scenes information about the film that kicked off his career. In fact, he said the movie's original ending, which involved Dante dying. Smith is also working on Clerks 3 and recently provided on a script on social media. Slow fast, trigger warning. This is a post about fasting. Please avoid if you struggle with eating disorders. Okay, well, he goes on to read his stuff. I just want to read about Clerks.
we don't need diet tips.
Yeah, we don't need diet
Smith.
tips from Kevin Smith. No. So scrolling down here, he says the new movie will take place almost entirely at the Quick Stop. He took to Instagram a bunch later this year to post some of his memories and artifacts from Clerks. But it looks like, and he's got everybody back on board, that he wants to bring Brian O'Halloran, Jeff Anderson. But this is going to take place after the Rise of the Mallrats. That's the sequel to that. And Kevin's always about trying to revive this. I think Clerks 3 would be a good one.
As long as they go back to basics, don't try to cram too many things in there. Jay and Silent Bob reboot started out strong, but by the end, he crammed so many cameos and little nods back to all the different movies that it was almost a little too much.
Yeah, that one wasn't as good. And I don't know what I would think for Mallrats, even though they're bringing the cast back. Mallrats was just perfect as it was. I don't think that needed a sequel. I don't need to know what's going on with the characters. I'm pretty good. But Clerks, though, I definitely am always down with that because Clerks 2 is fantastic. Yeah. That was a great sequel, man.
Yeah, they should figure out a way to do at least a portion of it in black and white. Maybe do sort of a Wizard of Oz type thing where it goes from black and white to color.
Yeah. Or just have some things in color and some things in black and white. Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. So that is the Clerks news. Now, there's some big news today for Disney Plus fans and Marvel fans. Marvel Studios is launching a new Disney Plus series this week, and it's going to make its premiere today. It's already on the service. The first episode, it's called Marvel Studios Legends. The episodes of the series will focus on the Vision and Scarlet Witch. A timely look, the first episode is going to look at the Vision and Scarlet Witch to get you ready for WandaVision, which is next Friday. Next Friday. Yep. Woohoo! It's going to give you behind-the-scenes details as Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen gear up to portray their characters in WandaVision. This is the first Friday with content related to the MCU since Disney Plus launch with the Expanding of the Universe documentary, which was previewed the future MCU when the streaming service launched. Disney Plus and Marvel Studios have released information about the upcoming Marvel Studios Legends series, and the premiere episode focused on the two Avengers heroes who will be coming into focus this year. So Very excited. It says, "Are you excited for Marvel Studios Legends and WandaVision?" Heck yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it. Obviously we got some stuff going on today, but I'm looking forward to watching it.
I'm carving out time somewhere.
Oh yeah, I think it's gonna be good. All those documentaries they put anyways, especially even after The Mandalorian, was just always entertaining to watch.
I'm kind of bummed they haven't brought that back for season 2.
Yeah.
Because I enjoyed watching those different, what did they call it?
Like they had the directors in there, and they talked about how they filmed the episode.
Right, the visual effects, the creatures, that was a lot of fun. But maybe they'll do that for the different Marvel stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And then lastly, before we go into the birthdays, reports emerged that in 2019 that Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige had been tapped by Lucasfilm to develop a Star Wars film for the franchise. And after nearly 2 years of ambiguity,
you got it.
Okay.
Yeah, the first
around
time.
the project, Deadline reports that the project has enlisted Loki and Doctor Strange and the Multi of Madness writer Michael Waldron to script the adventure, which Feige will develop and produce. While Disney has yet to confirm this news, the outlet reports that this is merely one component of a new deal Disney struck with Waldron, which would likely bring him back for a second season of the upcoming Loki. So I'm loving this intertwining of the Marvel guys. Like you got Favreau, obviously with The Mandalorian. Then you've got Taika Waititi is going to do his own trilogy of Star Wars films now. If that's going to be produced by Kevin Feige, Star Wars is in fantastic hands as well.
Well, and that's the thing, Star Wars, there's a lot of complaints about Kathleen Kennedy, who right now is sort of the Kevin Feige of the Star Wars universe, and she hasn't been treating it all that well. I'd love to see somebody like Jon Favreau step into that role, because we know that he treats the canon with respect, obviously based on what he did with The Mandalorian, and that you've got one person who oversees the full vision of what's going to be coming out.
Yeah, love it. So Star Wars fans, rejoice. Now, birthday boys, let's get down and boogie.
It's my birthday!
Oh, yeah! All right, this is going to be a weird birthday section today. It's going to be 3 heavenlies and 1 real birthday. All right. Known as the king of rock and roll, he rose to prominence in the late 1950s, becoming a legendary presence in the culture, history, and the best-selling solo artist in the history of pop. And I do a terrible impersonation. Thank you very much. Elvis Presley, he was 42 when he passed.
Wow.
Yeah, only 42. And did you know, I read a fun fact, Elvis actually was born as a twin. His twin brother...
ate him in the womb?
No.
Oh.
No, but his twin brother was born stillborn. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so there technically would have been 2 Elvises. Well, different names, obviously.
Right.
Legendary physicist who became renowned for creating cosmology that realm of the unification of theory of relativity and quantum mechanics. His 1988 book, A Brief History of Time, stayed on the British Sunday Times bestsellers list for a record-breaking 237 weeks. Also, he was Sheldon Cooper's buddy. That's Stephen Hawking. He was 76. I don't have the little robot sound effect.
No, I was just thinking he might like 1 ham and cheese.
One ham and cheese, 1 milk shake. Rock star of the 60s and beyond, who reinvented popular music with such singles as Space Oddity and Starman. He was the king of the goblins and once said, "Let's dance." David Bowie was 69. Those are the heavenly birthdays. Now let's see if you get this one. It's hard to see trouble when you're used to being a part of bad company. Now you wear blue on black and your pride has not gone away. It may never be enough, but when the seasons change, he will be under and over it all, and that's the tragic truth.
So it was Ivan Moody's birthday yesterday.
It was.
So is this Zoltan?
That was a good guess. Jeremy Spencer. He's not really in it no more, but the drummer of Five Finger Death Punch, Jeremy Spencer, 47. Okay. But good job. And that's your celebrity birthdays for January 8th. Happy birthday. Well, heavenly birthdays mainly. But
well, folks, that does it for the entertainment news. When we come back, we've got good news, everyone, where we take you out on an up note. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back after these messages.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's gonna teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting's hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Hello, Kubo. What have you got planned for today?
Come on, this way.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
It's the most powerful magic there is.
Head outside to discover incredible animals.
Wow.
And beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure. So grab your loved ones and explore a world of possibilities. Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
My teacher said that we should have a plan in case of an emergency. Do we have one?
First thing I'm gonna do is grab a flashlight with dead batteries.
I'm going to start randomly throwing clothes in the bag. You two will be hiding in the closet and Dad won't be able to find you.
And that's when we both start crying.
Uncontrollably. Can you pass the cutlets?
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency, who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311. Brought to you by the New York City Office of Emergency Management and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media, the future of broadcasting. Listen live at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix Radio Show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. And we are back, folks. This is the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. It is Friday, January 8th. Now we're all over social media with many of you watching us right now as we speak on Facebook Live or YouTube Live. Now, if you want to get a hold of us on social, I'm available at facebook.com/Kristian Fenix Radio. That's Christian with a K, Phoenix with an F, radio, of course, with an R, or on Instagram and Twitter at Phoenix Media Radio. Tony's available at facebook.com/Tony.Sanfilippo. That's SANFILIPPO.94, or on Instagram at Tony.Sanfilippo81. Now, it is Friday, and as we like to do on Fridays, is take you into the weekend on an up note. Obviously, there's so much bad news out there, especially recently, that we're just inundated with the negativity. Well, we like to give you guys news stories that are uplifting and, really make you feel good, which is why we do...
Good news, everyone!
All right, here's my good news story. The Avengers, Iron Man, Black Panther, Spider-Man, those and many more are members of the Marvel Universe. But Marvel is now releasing a comic book that will celebrate some real-life superheroes, nurses.
Awesome.
In coordination with the Allegheny Health Network and the advertising agency Donner, Marvel has created a comic book called The Vitals, True Nurse Stories, based on an amalgamation of experiences had by nurses from 13 hospital facilities in Western Pennsylvania. Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, we have been in awe of the courage and resourcefulness of our nurses who put their own health at risk to care for these vulnerable patients, says AHN Chief Nurse Executive Claire Zengerle in a statement. We are so proud of them, and we want to make sure that they know how much we appreciate their exceptional work. We hope that in seeing themselves as real Marvel Comics superheroes, they can take a moment to look back in pride on their exceptional work and compassion during an exceptionally difficult time for our communities. In a video made in conjunction with the comic book, the children of AHN nurses talked about their parents and their tireless work they've done through the pandemic. We didn't see her for like 2 months, says one little boy of his mother, a nurse. It makes me feel good that she's being able to help. In the video, the children and their parents are given the comic book, which results in no shortage of tears. That one looks like Mommy, says one little girl as she points to a nurse on the cover of the comic. You're a hero, says a little boy as he tearfully embraces his mother. The comic books will be distributed at AHN hospitals and recruiting events and are also available digitally on Marvel.com. Quote, at Marvel, we tell stories about heroes every day, but this story is special. It tells a story about our everyday heroes, the nurses and healthcare professionals working tirelessly and courageously to save lives, said Dan Buckley, president of Marvel Entertainment, in a statement. Along with AHN, we are honored to help tell these stories, which we dedicate to the real heroes who are saving the world. You know, this is the perfect amalgamation, to use a word from the story, of something we love in the geeky, nerdy culture. We love Marvel Comics and comic books and the true heroes of everything that's going on right now. And it's awesome to see. I am going to post this on our Facebook page so you can watch the video, you can see the cover, and it's really inspiring. And that is my
good news, everyone.
Dude, that's fantastic news. I have the good news as well. It's a little on the short side, so I have a backup. We'll have a second one.
It's all right. I got a backup as well,
all right.
if we need it.
If we need it. That's all right. I know that's not a lengthy segment, but we do have a few good ones. Girl donates all her money, or birthday money, to a homeless man who returned her grandma's wallet.
Wow.
In Jewish tradition, a mitzvah is a good deed that's performed with good heart simply because it's the right thing to do. And that's just how Evelyn Topper described the kind act of a homeless stranger who had gone out of his way to return her lost wallet. Topper likely dropped the wallet when she and her granddaughter Michaela Gonard were leaving. It's not Gonards, but it's Gonard. Were leaving a local coffee shop in San Rafael, California, that they just patronized. But Topper didn't realize it was missing until she got home. With her credit, debit, and medical cards gone, she was understandably upset. The next day, however, Topper got a call that put her worries to rest. Sean Curry had found the wallet in a dumpster behind the coffee shop, except for the cash. Its contents were intact. Even though he'd been homeless for 5 years, rather than take advantage, Curry reached out to make arrangements to return Topper's property. While Topper lauded his behavior and declared it a mitzvah, Curry didn't believe he'd done anything out of the ordinary. He'd done it, he explained in an interview, because he had a heart, and that's the way I was brought up. While a true mitzvah is performed without expectation of recognition or reward, sometimes the powers that be, with the help of a determined young girl, take matters into their own hands. Michaela had already planned a social distant drive-by, that's probably not a good way to call that, party for her upcoming 12th birthday. Rather than presents, she decided to ask for contributions to be donated to a charity in her name. She hasn't chosen which charity the money would go to, but after learning about the man who'd selflessly returned her grandmother's wallet, the choice seemed obvious. It's her turn to set her own mitzvah in motion. On the day of her party, the newly minted 12-year-old placed a photo of Curry and a collection basket next to balloons and party favors on an outdoor table in her driveway. By the end of her happy birthday, she raised several $100s for the nice man that turned in the wallet. So rather than merely giving lip service to the idea one good turn deserves another, she chose to make the good turn happen because she knew it was the right thing to do. I think it's really important that people who think that because you got pushed down, you can never get back up again. We think so too.
That's sweet. That's, little kids have the biggest hearts. And I love seeing stories like this where, obviously they see somebody less fortunate than themselves. That person does something good. Maybe he's not on the street out of his own volition. Unfortunately, there are some people that is the case. But, maybe he's trying to get back up on his feet. And so, a few $100, that might just be the trigger to get him, back into a normal life.
Yeah, I like it. And I love that she's 12 and just selfless in the sense that, hey, she did a good thing for my grandma, so that's what I'm going to do. And I still think it's cool that she was going to do that for charity as well beforehand. Yeah. Like, she had no desire to go buy like toys and all that stuff. So that's great. It's a good feeling. It's good to see that we have people like that growing up. So that's awesome.
Absolutely. I'd certainly say that counts as
good news, everyone.
Boy, I stuttered there for a second.
Yeah, I know.
Well, folks, that does it for good news, everyone. We love bringing these inspiring stories to you to bring you guys into the weekend on an up note. When we come back, we've got a segment called Wake Up. Don't go anywhere.
Wake up!
Wake up!
Put a 40 pounds up, make up!
And we'll be right back.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm Paul George of the Indiana Pacers. When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. So I want you to learn to spot a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. I'm Paul George. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media, the future of broadcasting. Explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix Radio Show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. Now back to the show indeed. This is the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. It is Friday, January 8th. Now, if you missed a portion of the show or you want to go back and catch up on any of the previous shows, it is easy enough to do so. Head over to phoenixmedia.us, click on the show's link, scroll on down to the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. From there, you can get video, you can get audio as well, or head over to wherever you get podcasts, whether it's Apple, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, Anchor Breaker, TuneIn, iHeart, about 20 in all. While you're there, be sure to subscribe. That way you always have the latest episode. Leave a review, let us know what you think, and tell your friends because sharing is caring. Now we're going to share. We're going to share in this next segment. Yesterday at the top of the show, we talked about a Chinese family who had basically been squatting in a hospital for 6 years before being finally kicked out. And it got me thinking about hospitals and probably one of my biggest fears, waking up during surgery. So that's why we have this segment called Wake Up! Wake Up!
Oh, that's a good sound. Wake up! Put on 40 pounds of makeup!
These are stories of people who have woken up during surgery. And so get ready for your buttholes to pucker because it's going to be slightly uncomfortable, but fun nonetheless. So let's go ahead and kick things off with Wake Up! Wake Up! All right, this first one. I had an eye surgery to fix a scarred retina. I woke up as the doctor started the procedure. The nurse asked what kind of music he wanted to listen to, and he said Coldplay. I couldn't move. My body was paralyzed, and I was awake. I couldn't say anything either. All I could do was lay there and watch as my eye was being worked on. Yes, I could see the tool entering my eye. I could hear the doctor and nurses talking.
That's awful. And then couldn't even alert. That's frightening. And it's terrible because that would go on, like mentally, that feels like that would go on forever. Whereas when you're under, it's just, and then you're up and then it's done.
Yeah. And luckily it doesn't say that he or she was able to feel anything. That would be the terrifying part, is being awake with eye surgery and feeling every little thing that's going on.
That'd be bad.
Ooh. Very scary.
Yikes.
Let's move on. Wake up! Wake up! This from user Jag312 says, I woke up in the middle of a pretty substantial tooth extraction one time. The procedure involved the removal of 8 teeth in total, my wisdom teeth and a few others. The worst part is that when I first awoke, it felt something like sleep paralysis. I couldn't move no matter how hard I tried and had no way to signal to the orthodontist that I was conscious and could feel the pressure of the tooth extraction. And I'm sensing a little bit of a theme that, most of these people won't be able to notify the doctors or the surgeons. And then especially when it comes to, work on your teeth, they don't always put you under. Of course, they numb it, but you can still feel that pressure and the grinding and the sounds of the
yeah, I hate it. Yeah. I pictured the big toothless guy from Joe Exotic when you were telling that story.
Carol Baskin.
Yeah, it's I try to take as much care of my teeth at home so that way I can avoid those sorts of things in the future.
Exactly.
All right, let's move on. Wake up! Wake up! This from user Waking Dreamland says, after my appendectomy, I woke up to see my doctor, the surgeon, and 2 nurses standing over me looking worried. As it turned out, in the middle of the surgery, I woke up just enough to panic and pull the tube out of my throat. Oh. They put me under more heavily and put the tube back, but apparently it freaked them all out enough that they were in the recovery room waiting. Oh, yeah, and that goes back to one of those things that, if you wake up and you're in the middle of something, you don't know what's going on, you're going to start tugging at tubes and wires and, I can't even imagine.
No.
It's
like something like waking up and what's going on? Yeah.
And that's enough to give you nightmares for pretty much life.
Exactly.
Let's move on. Wake up! Wake up! This from user Yesaruni. It's an interesting name.
Gasaruni. I like it. Gasaruni, I got gas because I ate at the King Buffet. Toot, 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 toot.
This one, not as scary, a little more innocuous. Says, I don't remember it, but the nurses told me I woke up in major surgery and asked for my CD to be restarted as it had finished playing. That's some spatial awareness, and of course, if you like a certain band, if you like certain music, then, if that's what's going to calm you down during surgery, why not?
Exactly.
Let's move on with Wake Up. These are horror stories of people waking up in the middle of surgery. Wake up! Wake up! From user Prof. Gilligan. Maybe Professor Gilligan?
Gilligan.
Here's one that you definitely won't want to wake up during. Woke up during a colonoscopy and started asking questions about what was on the monitor. Zero discomfort or pain. I get why fentanyl is popular. I asked one question too many, I guess. The anesthesiologist shut that S down.
Pokey.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to wake up when they've got a camera shoved up there. It's
like, ooh.
Luckily, they didn't feel anything.
No, that's a good thing. Yeah.
All right, this next one from the Goku Special.
Wake up! Goku Special.
Woke up in a tib, fib, and femur op. Didn't feel a thing, and there was a screen in front of my chin. I didn't say anything because I couldn't feel anything. The docs noticed my heart rate spike, and they gassed me up more. I didn't quite remember it until I talked to the surgeon later. He asked if I recalled anything, and it kind of came back to me. Strange overall. Better not remembering it. I don't know if you've woken up during either a surgery or, not during, but afterwards, or a tooth extraction, anything along those lines, and just remembering how wacky and tripped out and nonsensical. Have you ever had an experience like that?
Yeah, the last time I ever went under was for my wisdom teeth, and I remember actually, it was my biopsy, but I don't remember anything from the biopsy thing. But I do the wisdom teeth. I remember counting back from 10 and then waking up in the waiting room next to a big heavy set lady, and my cheek was on there, and I'm like, and like I've got drool coming out of my mouth. I'm like, oh, yeah, it was very, very sexy,
I love watching the videos of people who are being, taken home after a surgery and they're just out of it.
Oh, dude, you're loopy. Like it's a whole weird thing. I know, like both times I felt very weird. Denny was on he had a heart attack or a couple months ago, and they couldn't get him to go under, and they thought he was under, and he could hear everything. They're like, oh no. They're like, get the Sasquatch one, and he goes, how'd you know? And they like kind of spooked him out. Like, because it's just funny because they called he's a larger guy.
Denny's a big dude, so
they called the thing a Sasquatch thing, and Denny's huge. He loves the Sasquatches, so he thought it was funny, but he wasn't all the way out yet for some of the heart surgery there.
Well, let's move on with Wake Up! This from Jedi Master Yoni. Says, getting my wisdom teeth surgically removed. Woke up to a string coming out of my mouth, pulled tight in the doctor's hands, assuming he was stitching something up. He saw I was awake and said, you shouldn't be up yet. He looked to someone else I couldn't see and said, push a little more. Then looked back at me, waved, saying, nighty-night.
I don't know why I cringed. Like, I just pictured it like it's still his mouth, like a still.
Dental surgery just.
No. And it's painful too. Yeah. Super painful.
Yeah. More so the aftermath,
Yeah, during is fine. You hear it in the all that sounds, and, that sucks, and the smells and the uncomfortableness. You're like, is it over yet? But yeah, later you're like, it's the worst. Like, you'd rather just get kicked in the nards, like, versus that.
I love how we did good news, everyone, in the last segment to make everybody feel good, and now everybody's just like,
got a painful, disgusting note. Everyone's like, yeah.
That's all right. We're having fun nonetheless. Let's move on with Wake Up! This from Pro Skills 14. I woke up and could feel the surgery, but it wasn't pain. Felt like tugging, and the surgery took longer than planned for. It was not painful, but a truly weird experience. They didn't want to knock me out again since I wasn't feeling the pain. The anesthesia affects the nerves longer, I guess, than the brain. And again, this sort of is a common theme throughout most of these stories, but even waking up, just sort of the trauma of seeing yourself being worked on would be enough to be worrisome.
Oh, yeah.
All right, this next one. Wake up! From Piccolelli. I think that's how you say it.
Piccolelli.
Was having hand surgery. Heard myself saying woozily, that's some manicure. They must have pumped on the gas pretty quickly. Never got to elaborate, but I couldn't imagine, hand surgery, and then obviously, what that would be like waking up in the middle to, and especially in that sort of state thinking, I'm just getting a manicure. That's all. That's all it is.
Oh, man.
Let's see. I'm just trying to go through because a lot of these, are sort of woke up, felt no pain. There's got to be some that were just awkward and weird. All right, let's go with this one. Just here for the beer. Wake up! Wake up! I woke up during my tonsillectomy when I was 12. I was numb, so no pain at all. I could feel the drips of blood in my throat. I could hear the doctors and nurses talking, and I could hear the radio. They were listening to country music. It was quite traumatic. It would be pretty bad going under surgery right now as an adult, waking up. But could you imagine being a 12-year-old having to deal with that?
No. That'd be tough. I think it'd be harder for the kids. I don't know. Like, luckily, anytime I've gone under, I don't remember anything. It's the waking up part, minus the biopsy. I don't remember that, but the other one definitely. It's just for a kid, though. I can't imagine that being really funny.
Yeah, no, not at all. All right, so here's one that sort of bucks the trend of what we've been seeing. Wake up! Wake up! From Skinny with Love Handle says, I didn't wake up mid-surgery, but I did wake up immediately post-surgery after getting a plate and pins in my ankle. I vividly remember slowly gaining consciousness and immediately agonizing pain. I started screaming and bawling my eyes out. Nurses rush into the room, try to give me a nerve block in my leg, but can't find the nerve, so they're just poking around in my leg while I'm screaming bloody murder. I don't know if they ever got the nerve block done. I passed out from the pain.
Ooh.
That is the true horror.
Yikes.
And actually, that reminds me, I got foot surgery back when I was in high school, screws and pins, and I remember the searing pain of the anesthesia going in. This was before being knocked out and all of that, and it just felt like my foot was on fire. It was not a whole lot of fun, but of course, you never really want to wake up during surgery.
Never. Wake up! No.
Well, folks, we are headed into the long break. We've got a few seconds to go before we start playing the music to go out. But I did want to remind you that we do still have a second hour ahead of us with our call-in topic, our interactive topic. We want to hear from you guys about the best time travel movie, because who doesn't love a good time travel movie? Folks, enjoy the long break. Take a potty break, listen to the news, grab some tea, whatever you need to do. But in any case, we will see you back here in about 7 minutes.
7.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. Look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Hamilton the Pug, Instagram star and shelter pet. Amazing adoption stories start in shelters. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
So you see, son, good manners are important. Should I go through it again?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open, don't speak with your mouth full, keep your elbows off the table. Share your things, play nice, and generally treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day, making sure they brush their teeth, is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, When Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media, the future of broadcasting. To explore our complete lineup, head over to phoenixmedia.us or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio.
Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Nick Harper. After weeks of speculation, US President Donald Trump has confirmed he will not be attending the inauguration of incoming President Joe Biden. President Trump made the announcement on Twitter, writing to all those who have asked, "I will not be going to the inauguration on January the 20th. It's a break from the time-honored tradition, the outgoing president attending the public swearing-in ceremony of the incoming president and part of the peaceful transition of power. That inauguration is in 12 days' time, but there's a concerted push by Democrats to remove the president from office before then for inciting the invasion on the US Capitol. The Democrats have drawn up articles of impeachment for a second time and hope to vote on the matter next week. Over 4,000 deaths due to coronavirus were recorded in the United States on Thursday, a new daily record. The grim milestone comes as a study shows the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine is effective against mutated strains of the virus. FSN's US correspondent Rebecca Foster reports.
Thursday's 4,000-plus fatalities pushed the U.S.'s total coronavirus death count above 365,000, with over 21.5 million people in the U.S. infected since the pandemic began. A highly contagious mutated strain of the coronavirus originally detected in the UK has now been found in at least 8 U.S. states. A new study by Pfizer-BioNTech has shown their vaccine is effective against this strain, as well as against a different mutation found in South Africa. Scientists at Moderna are also optimistic that their vaccine will work against the mutated versions, although further testing of both vaccines is still taking place.
Meanwhile, the Moderna coronavirus vaccine has now been approved for use in the United Kingdom. It comes as a major incident was declared by London's mayor, who described the spread of infections as out of control. FSN's Chris Jones reports from London.
The UK government has ordered 17 million doses of the Moderna vaccine, but they're not expected to arrive until the spring. The vaccine is reported to be 94% effective against the coronavirus and can last for up to 30 days in household fridges, making a mass rollout easier. Over 1.5 million people in the UK have been vaccinated so far, but the government has warned that the effects won't be felt for several months. London is the latest area to describe a major incident in response to the pandemic. Mayor Sadiq Khan warns the capital was at crisis point, with hospitals on the verge of being unable to cope. Chris Jones, London.
India's second phase of the nationwide COVID-19 vaccination trial run has begun in over 700 districts. The mock immunisation exercise is taking place to find the best way to vaccinate people ahead of the actual vaccination drive. From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets, and they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's gonna teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting's hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
How's it going? I'm having a stroke. Are you going to shake my hand? I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke. When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The storks are bringing me a baby brother. We can do this together.
All right, let's go. Storks know how to keep kids safe. Do you? What?
Oh my gosh, you don't know.
I know.
You don't. Oh man, you laugh when you're uncomfortable.
No. Making sure your child is in the right car seat is one of the steps to safer travel.
I will rock this.
You will rock this. To know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size, visit safercar.gov/the right seat. Cool, cool, cool. Very cool, very cool. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The following is a production of Fenix Media. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the company or its advertisers and may contain language that's unsuitable for younger listeners.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.
I'm about to do to you what Limp Bizkit did to music in the late 90s.
Surely you can't be serious. I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Here goes the last DJ.
Gentlemen, I wash my hands of this weirdness.
Welcome back, folks, to the second hour of the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. It is Friday, January 8th. We are your daily dose of laughs and levity in a crazy, crazy world. Still joined by my co-host on this Friday, Mr. Tony Sanfilippo. How you doing? Getting ready for this quick, super short, fast second hour, right?
Yeah. The second hour, always the fastest hour on the show. It's always where we're upbeat. It's rolling. It's clicking. We got some good stuff. It's time travel movies, G-Man, football, and then this day in history. So, yeah, it's going to be a fast segment, that's for sure. Or fast hour of segments, yeah. I'm excited to be here. Got my tea, round two, and the Zip Fizz is kicking in.
What more could you ask for?
Yeah.
Well, as Tony alluded to, this is the interactive portion of the show where we want to hear from you guys, the listeners and watchers, on our topic of the day. Just head over to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Kristian Fenix Radio. That's Kristian with a K, Fenix with an F, radio, of course, with an R. Click into the live video and comment there. Today's topic is best time travel movie ever. Something we love, obviously. It is, part of sci-fi genre, things that we just inevitably love anyway. But, time travel always has that, little extra bit of fun to it. Of course, probably the most popular time travel movie and movie series of all time, Back to the Future.
Great Scott!
It is sort of the benchmark that everybody holds for time travel and the rules of time travel as well. But you know what? We wanted to talk about some maybe slightly more obscure time travel movies, or ones that you forgot were about time travel. Tony, let's go ahead and start off with your pick for the greatest time travel movie next to Back to the Future.
Yeah, obviously we all know, like, when the topic came up, the first one that came to my mind, of course, was Back to the Future. Then I was like, well, then if I can't use that one, then Endgame would have been number two. But of course, that's all pretty recent, and they like to take jabs at Back to the Future and the plot holes with time travel. So I started thinking, well, what other one? And then I don't have a sound effect for it. So that's the Terminator franchise. The Terminator. I'm going to need your boots, your glasses. I'm here for you, John Connor. Terminator 2, one of my all-time favorite movies. Like, I don't think every movie in that franchise is great. In fact,
look at Rise of the Machines.
There's so many plot holes where they goofed up on that, but it's all about time travel. It's going back into the future to stop the rise of Skynet and stopping that. So for me, it was always fascinating John Connor, and there's different timelines because the problem is they go back, they go all over the place, and it messes with the timeline. So, another one that just popped in my head, but I'll save it in case somebody else says it, but I just had another really good one pop in my head.
Yeah, staying in the realm of Terminator, the only Terminator movie that didn't deal with time travel was Salvation. That all took place in that future where the robots have taken over.
Yeah.
Everything else had to do with time
And that's
travel.
where the famous "Oh, good for you" came from. That was the Christian.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, that was Christian Bale's meltdown during that movie. When that extra walked on set and messed up his thing.
What did you think of Dark Fate?
Yeah, that was the most recent one, right?
It is. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't mind it. I felt like they tried to. I think where it went wrong was it was great because they got James Cameron back in the fold
as a producer, not director.
Yeah, exactly. But the problem was they hyped it too much to be the third Terminator, essentially, and I think too little, too late. And you can't go through and try to omit all the other ones. It just you're undoing it. You basically got to start fresh. Well, it was better than Genesis. Genesis was
true.
rough.
Yeah.
That was a rough one. I actually didn't mind Rise of the Machines, T3.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think it was that bad. It wasn't great. I think where the problem was for me is you didn't bring back Edward Furlong as John Connor.
Right.
And that was a huge disconnect for me.
Yeah, you had Nick Stoll.
Yeah.
And, he was okay. He was coming off Carnival, which we just talked about the other day. But, not great.
Now, in Dark Fate, what I really loved was in the beginning to try to make it essentially the third Terminator in the series was the beginning where they did the digital aging and you just had that young, you had Arnold, he's back, right? Because at the end he goes down and that was supposed to be the end of it. But here he is. He pops in time, a different version of him. They find John and Sarah on the beach and he just blasts John Connor. And it was crazy because it was a young Edward Furlong, digitally, of course.
Right.
But it was so cool. So, yeah, that was great. I mean, and then that spun a whole new timeline because now Sarah Connor is the leader of the resistance of that and all that. So,
yeah, it's like you said, too little, too late. If they had done that as the true third one, I think it would have been much better than it actually was. But the effects, the action, all of that was a lot of fun, and of course, it dealt with time travel.
Yep.
And that's what we're looking for, folks. Your pick for the greatest time travel movie ever. Of course, head over to our Facebook page, into the live video, comment there with your pick. When we come back, it will be all about you, but I'll give you my pick as well.
You, Yendra's too.
Folks, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all gotta see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan. We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
Idea how to find each other.
The whole experience was fine.
The most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in '09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m., and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix Radio Show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. We are back. This is the Kristian Fenix Radio Show on a Friday, January 8th. Now we are smack dab in the middle of the interactive portion of the show where we want to hear from you guys on our topic of the day. Just head over to facebook.com/Kristian Fenix Radio. Go into the live video there and comment in on what your pick is for greatest time travel movie ever. A lot of fun, so many good ones out there. Tony gave us his pick next to Back to the Future and Avengers Endgame, which are probably two of the biggest choices out there. He chose, obviously, the Terminator series, with T2 kind of being the pinnacle of that. My pick is Time Cop featuring... No, I'm just kidding.
Jean-Claude Van Damme, huh?
Van Damme, it was a fun movie, but...
Cop, on time.
It wouldn't fall into greatest of all time.
What are you doing?
One that I really enjoyed, actually a movie we talked about yesterday. Not so much time travel, more of a time loop movie, similar to Groundhog Day, Edge of Tomorrow. No, it's not Live, Die, Repeat. It's called Edge of Tomorrow. Obviously starring Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt, about this futuristic war where Tom Cruise keeps dying, living the same day over and over again. And of course, trying to progress through to defeat the alien invaders. Good action, great storytelling, great chemistry between the two of them. And he goes from the sort of like mousy marketing guy to a true badass, really. And so, fun movie. It's a movie that I enjoy watching at least once a year. And, it takes sort of that Groundhog Day time loop idea and turns it on its head a little bit. So that's my pick, obviously.
That's good. I thought you were going to say Universal Soldier, The Return. Crush 'em, crush 'em.
With Goldberg.
Hello, me. It's Universal time again.
Not so much.
Soldier boy.
But folks, we want to hear from you. What is your pick for greatest time travel movie? Of course, Super Phoenix fans, the Yandras, chimed in. Tony, what were their picks?
Super Phoenix fans, the Yandras. Well, Michael's is a very great one. It is Hot Tub Time Machine.
Ooh, I like that choice.
Fantastic movie.
Like that choice. I don't really remember the second one, but the first one is
the
classic.
second one was not. It didn't have John Cusack in it. I think it had everybody else but him.
Okay, all right.
But the first one just classic movie. I don't know if classic's kind of stamping it, but great movie. I guess it could be a classic for us now.
Totally.
Lacey had let us know that Scrooged was a good one with Bill Murray.
Right,
That was a very good one. And she said Happy Death Day was a fun time loop movie.
Totally.
I totally agree with both of those. And Scrooged is one of those that's fantastic. A great Bill Murray movie.
That's something I look forward to watching every Christmas.
Yeah. Didn't watch it this year?
Well, it wasn't available on any of the streaming services aside from if I wanted to purchase it. And so it's like, not so much.
Yeah, and then Annabella had chimed in. I know, you're chiming on me. I see. I saved this because your daughter messaged me. Annabella's pick was Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. That's why I didn't say that for
Excellent!
you. You had 2 others, so I figured that would give Annabella that one. So.
Well, and I think Tim sort of shares that with the Yandras. He commented, said, I can't comment, so he messaged in on Facebook because my Nazi bosses are monitoring our Facebook posts during work. Hopefully they didn't hear that, so you may not get this. But if
you said Yahtzee.
Yeah,
Yahtzee,
totally.
yeah, sevens, yeah.
But he said, if I can't pick Back to the Future for best time travel movie, which it obviously is, I'd say Bill and Ted.
Excellent!
So much fun. The original was great. Bogus Journey was great. Face the Music, not so much.
Yeah, Face the Music was not that great. That was way too little, too late. I mean, I appreciate they came back and did it, but it just wasn't as good.
And then he capped off saying, and you know what? I even enjoyed Hot Tub Time Machine.
There you go. See,
so he is right on par with the Yandras.
Jamie Anna chimed in and said Back to the Future was hers, which of course it's good. Now, I don't know, of the 3 Back to the Futures, what was your favorite?
2. I think I liked the future, the hoverboard, the flying DeLorean. The first one is obviously a classic. The third one is fun, going back into the Old West. But 2 for me was just that perfect movie.
That was me too. 2 was the absolute best because I loved it. Because not only did they go to the future, but they went back to 1955 and it was all messed up. So it really undid what the first one did. It was great. Third one was all right.
It was okay.
It was.
Right.
I didn't hate it, but it wasn't my favorite of the 3.
No. But, it did a good job of sort of end capping things and, really setting the stage that movie series should never be remade.
No, please.
Leave it alone.
No.
Clara! So, folks, we are talking greatest time travel movies. There is still time for you to comment in on our Facebook Live.
On my feed here.
While you're doing that, of course, I pulled up a list. Collider picked what they say are their best time travel movies. Of course, we talked about The Terminator.
The Terminator.
Back to the Future Part 2.
You could only go Terminator 2, because Terminator 1, I was trying to kill Sarah Connor. In Part 2, I was after John Connor, then we became friends.
Here's an interesting pick. At number 11, they have Idiocracy. So not traveling back in time, but more traveling into the future.
Welcome to Costco. I love you. It's kind of scary.
We're almost living Idiocracy right now.
Yeah, we don't have livestock inside Costco though, like the movie, or a Starbucks, like it predicted.
But Idiocracy, made by Mike Judge, obviously behind Office Space, Beavis and Butthead, and basically the premise for those of you who haven't seen it is that society over the years, the stupid people have procreated massively, where those who are smarter in society have held off and not had kids. And then you go a couple hundred years in the future where everybody is dumb and you have an ordinary Joe who is frozen in time and he's the smartest man on earth, even though he's just sort of that average guy. And you've got Dax Shepard, Maya Rudolph, and Luke Wilson in that. Great comedy, time travel to the future.
Yeah, I forgot about that one, but being a time travel movie, but you're right, and it's a good movie. It's kind of scary. We're kind of somewhat living in that now.
I know. What they have for number 10 is a movie I enjoy watching, probably about once a year as well. Looper, from director Rian Johnson, who did The Last Jedi, starring John McClane, obviously.
Yeah. But Looper was good, though. I did enjoy Looper.
Yeah. And you had Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who actually, they gave him just a little prosthetic nose, did a good job of making him look like a young Bruce Willis.
Yeah, because the premise of that was old Bruce Willis had to go back in time to kill younger Bruce Willis.
Yeah. Younger Bruce Willis had to go forward in time to kill the older one. For number 9, they have one of the Harry Potter movies, which I kind of forgot was a time travel movie, and we were just, again, talking about it the other day, The Prisoner of Azkaban.
Oh, yeah. It does go back.
And, again, they do a good job of interweaving the story that as things are happening, they don't know what's going on, but when they go back in time, they realize that it's themselves sort of messing with their past selves, and it's enjoyable. It's a lot of fun. I want to go back and watch that series again.
I do too. I was going to say that's probably, I wouldn't put that in my favorite time travel movies, but it was a good movie though.
Totally. Here's another Bruce Willis time travel movie from Terry Gilliam, 12 Monkeys.
You know, surprisingly, I don't remember 12 Monkeys. I know the poster. I don't know if that was just kind of when I was getting into movies a lot.
It was weird and trippy. It's definitely not for everybody, but definitely well worth a watch at least once.
Okay.
So let's see. Just checking
I
to see.
I like this list. I mean, you can just roll it down. It's good. I can just give you some smart ass comments here and there. Oops, can we say ass on this network? Oh, yes, we can.
Yes, you can.
On the other network, I got fined for that, so you can't say that.
Here's another one that you kind of forget is a time travel movie: the J.J. Abrams remake of Star Trek.
I guess.
You know, they traveled
back in time. It was a good movie.
Yeah. They have old Spock, who was played by original Spock actor Leonard Nimoy, which was great seeing the two of them with Zachary Quinto interact. And, it was more of an action-packed Star Trek movie as opposed to what you expect from Star Trek, which is a little more science-based.
I like the first two of the Abrams ones. The third one I didn't like so much, but I like the first two.
Well, the third one wasn't Abrams. He produced it, but it was...
Brett Ratner.
No, it was... James Wan, who did Aquaman and some of the Saw movies.
Brett Ratner did the terrible Last Stand X-Men movie.
Exactly. Yeah, that was pretty bad.
On the Juggernaut, bitch.
Kind of wish we could forget about that one. Number 4.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say.
No, I have one. I have one to pop, but you tell me.
Okay. Number 4 on the list is Planet of the Apes. They have the original.
Damn dirty apes. Damn yous all the hell.
On here, they list the original Charlton Heston one, but I actually enjoyed the more recent remakes. Not the Tim Burton one with Mark Wahlberg, but the ones that I forget who did the first one. Was it Dawn of the Planet of the Apes?
Yeah.
But the next two were done by the Batman director.
Joel Schumacher?
No,
Tim Burton.
No, the most recent, The Batman with Robert Pattinson.
The Batman.
Why am I blanking on his name? But they were good. They were very good. And, of course, deal with time travel into the future again, where at the end he realizes that they're actually on Earth and sees, the Statue of Liberty there in the sand.
The apes, back in the day, the Charlton Heston one kind of creeped me out. Just the monkeys, they were freaky. What I was going to tell you, and it's funny because then Lacey chimed in and I could see it, but that's exactly what I was thinking, Lacey, was X-Men Days of Future Past. Fantastic travel. And what triggered that was... That's what I was going to tell you at the beginning, but I'm like, I'll save it. But then I forgot until I started talking about the crappy third one. But it undid everything. And that's the way that X-Men series should have ended for Fox, was Days of Future Past. Fantastic travel movie.
Absolutely. Well written, well weaved in with the time travel aspects.
It fixed some loopholes and some bad stuff.
It fixed The Last Stand, which
oof.
So bad.
Oof.
So bad. Well, folks, that does it for time travel movies.
Let's talk time travel again sometime. That was fun.
Absolutely. When we come back, G-Man is joining us.
Yes!
He's running down his picks for NFL Wildcard weekend. Should be fun. Love talking football. Folks, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's gonna teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable. But how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Hello, Kubo. What have you got planned for today?
Come on, this way.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
It's the most powerful magic there is.
Head outside to discover incredible animals.
Wow.
And beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure. So grab your loved ones and explore a world of possibilities. Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
My teacher said that we should have a plan in case of an emergency. Do we have one?
First thing I'm gonna do is grab a flashlight with dead batteries.
I'm going to start randomly throwing clothes in the bag. You two will be hiding in the closet and Dad won't be able to find you.
And that's when we both start crying.
Uncontrollably. Can you pass the cutlets?
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency, who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311. Brought to you by the New York City Office of Emergency Management and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media, the future of broadcasting. Listen live at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix Radio Show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. We are back. This is the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. It is Friday, January 8th. Now we have a little thing called the Fenix Line. It is our 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week voicemail line, giving you guys the opportunity to chime in on anything whatsoever, including the interactive portion of our show. Monday's topic is useful, underrated websites. What websites do you go to that you utilize for different tools or apps or whatever it is that people may not know about? Let us know. Give us a call on the Fenix Line at 855-FENIX-RADIO. That's 855-FENIX-RDO or 855-336-4973 for the alphanumerically impaired. All we ask is that you keep it entertaining. We'll compile those together, put them out in a future show. Now, it is that time of the week. It is Friday. G-Man is joining us with his picks for NFL Wildcard Weekend. And I've only got one question for you, G-Man. Are you ready for some football? How you doing this morning?
Doing good, brother. How you doing?
Doing well, doing well.
G-Man.
Well, we're into the wild card weekend, and it is a weird wild card, something we're not used to. 2 extra games, which a little strange. How do you feel about that?
Hey, you know what? Anytime you can get an extra game in there, I'm a fan of that. So of course it's all about making money for these guys, but what else is new?
Yeah. And I feel bad for the number 2 of each division who would normally have a bye week. They've got to play against the lowest seed in the wild card now, and that could prove a problem for those who would otherwise be taking the week off.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure that the who are the number 2 seeds? The Bills and. Who is it in the NFC?
Who else, Tone?
The Saints.
Right after the Packers.
The Saints, yeah.
Is it the Saints? Yeah. So, yeah, I'm sure they'd rather be sitting at home.
Did you call them the
They're not happy that they're
Peckers?
playing.
The Peckers.
Peckers?
Yeah.
I thought that's what you said.
The players also get an extra game check.
That's true.
Yeah.
So there's a little silver lining there.
Yeah. Hopefully nobody gets hurt. obviously that's always the concern. But you know what? We're going to run down your top 3 picks. All happen to be the Saturday games. So let's start with our wild card matchup. Again, you have the Indianapolis Colts +7 by the hook versus the Bills. We just mentioned that the Bills normally would have a bye week, but in this case, they are playing the lowest seed Indianapolis Colts. How do you see that playing out?
Yeah, basically anytime for me that it's in the playoffs and if the point is over a touchdown, I start, really looking at the points, to tell you the truth. Everybody's of course going to bring their best game, and even if they're injured, you got players that are going to be playing that maybe normally wouldn't be playing during the regular season. So, I tell you what, I said at the beginning of the year, I didn't expect the Colts to make the playoffs, and I expected Old Man Rivers to, kind of, limp into the last part of the season. So, everything's a little bit surprising on that side. So good, good for him, good for the Colts. It's interesting, the 6 teams, that are the 6 there's like all kinds of old guys.
I know.
All the teams in the playoffs, man, they're old guys.
Well, it's like the old guys versus the young guys. So, I mean,
Yeah.
you have Josh Allen, who's probably one of the hottest quarterbacks to come out of
way
the
to
recent
fumble
draft.
that one, Elway.
Right. Versus Phillip Rivers, who, Rivers has never made it to a Super Bowl. Not my favorite quarterback. He's a little pouty for me, but it should be fun to see the old versus the new.
Yeah. It's a lot of class of 04 playing with him and Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as somebody pointed out on the internet, I don't know how this came up, but, they were comparing all the football stats and stuff between Rivers and all the other old guard, quarterbacks like Roethlisberger and Brady and stuff like that. And he has, he has 9 kids, so that's that's something that he definitely is going to, go down with as like the #1 quarterback.
Right. Well, it goes to show that when he retires, maybe after the end of this season, that we'll probably see him as an analyst or something, because he's got to feed all those kids.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can only imagine once he does start, having grandkids, boy, that's going to be, quite the farm.
Quite the farm, big time. And he's very entertaining too, like in post game interviews and some of the tape, because he doesn't cuss. It's always like, gee golly, dang nabbit. Yeah. It's always very PG, and it might be because of the 9 kids, but. For him throwing temper tantrums, like I hated playing against him as a with the Broncos. He used to taunt us, but I respect him. He is good. Yeah, he throws a lot of interceptions, but he's been reliable. And I mean, he's gotten the Colts to at least an opportunity to dance. They have a hell of a tough matchup, though. Whew.
Yeah, he's like one of those guys where I would think that you would enjoy him as a teammate, because, as a quarterback especially, they're, kind of quiet. They don't want to bring attention to themselves because they get hit.
Right.
But Rivers is actually out there poking fun, man, right at the line of scrimmage, just like, hey, man, we're coming right at you, Israel, and, talking that crap.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
He's good at it. He's really good.
Yeah.
Poking the bear almost.
So like always,
literally.
I'm hoping this is going to be a close game, just like all the playoff games should be close. Who likes a blowout when it's the playoffs?
Nobody, because then it's like, why'd you get there? Why'd you show up? You just cred the bed there.
Well, and especially for the sake of bettors as well.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, let's move on to our marquee matchup. You have the #6 seed Rams at +4.5 versus the #3 seed Seattle Seahawks.
Ooh, it's gonna be a tough one.
That's gonna be a tough one and a whole lot of fun to watch, I'm sure.
Absolutely, 2 NFC West Division opponents, and I'm going to hang my hat on again the same thing that I did the last time these 2 guys played. Sean McVay at that point was 5-2 against the Seahawks, and Pete Carroll. Now he's 5-3. But anybody that watched that game, it was a toss-up until the Seahawks made that last score in the fourth quarter, pretty late in the fourth quarter, with about 5 minutes left, if I remember.
And that's the Seahawks MO. They leave it till the end, and of course Russell is just an amazing quarterback at doing those fourth quarter last 2-minute drives.
Yeah,
absolutely. And of course, you have the beast of a receiver in Metcalf, but the Rams also have a more than capable secondary, and I imagine they're going to put Jalen Ramsey locked up on Metcalf as much as possible. And 4.5 points, that's more than a field goal. And so if you can get that number, I would like that.
Yeah, absolutely doable for him.
It's going to be a defense one too, because I don't know if Goff's going to be ready to go. And then do you ride with the no name, or do you ride with Bortles? Who, good for Bortles, he got off the Broncos practice squad and he landed on the Rams. It's going to kind of come down to quarterback play too, because the defense is really going to have to hold them up if Goff doesn't go.
Yeah,
so.
and realistically, I foresee the Seahawks taking that game, but will the Rams cover that spread?
Yep, exactly. And so again, I think it'll be close. It typically is with these guys.
One that I don't expect to be close, and it's our third pick. It's our best bet matchup. You've got the number 4 inexplicable seed WTF Washington football team at plus 8.5 versus the number 5 seed Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh no! Oh no!
That's I don't know how Washington football team at 7-9 record gets number 4 seed and makes it into the playoffs. It's crazy.
Playoffs?
Yeah.
Playoffs.
So now remember, as I said in my message to you, that this is a qualifier. If Alex Smith is not the starter, then I would actually flip it and I would take the Bucs. But if he is starting, this is arguably one of the best stories of the year. I was never a huge Alex Smith fan. Of course, he had a lot of disappointing starts with the 49ers, in spite of the fact that he was, they passed on Aaron Rodgers, basically. So that's always been in my craw.
Right.
So that being said, 8.5 points, they're at home. That defense is legit. I see this game, kind of like a 24-17. I also like the under, in this game. And, but you're right. If 8.5 points, that's winning by 10, so it's pretty marginal. But hey, that's what it is. Don't bet the rent on this.
Right.
But I'd still take those 8.5 points.
And, Tampa Bay, obviously, they're sort of the new New York Yankees of football. They're a paid-for team. I mean, they've got paid-for superstars, and you can never count out Tom Brady. I mean, especially when it comes to the playoffs. So, I just think this is going to be a whooping from the Bucs.
It could be too.
Yeah.
Believe me, I've vacillated back and forth. This is just basically betting axioms. That's really what went into this decision.
That's a good one. And like you said, it plays, if Alex Smith is your guy, then I think you have a better chance. But if Alex Smith is not healthy, is not playing, then I could see the whooping coming. But I would like it to be Alex Smith too.
When Tom Brady struggled, it's because there's been pressure from the front seven, and Washington is arguably, definitely a top 5, front 7 in the league.
That is
putting
true.
Pressure on the quarterback.
Either way.
So if he's not hitting those long shots, it could be a close one.
Either way, it'll be fun to watch. So to recap, you've got the Colts +7 by the hook versus the Bills, Rams +4.5 versus the Seahawks, Washington football team +8.5 versus the Buccaneers. Grady, with a little bit under a minute left, where can people find you, and what have you been working on?
Well, actually, I just met with Tony Contini yesterday. We're going to start storyboarding for, another video, Rain. It's a remake of our 2012 debut album.
Great song, worth a listen.
Yeah, we're going to have the Solace Tree involved, with it. It's related to, teen suicide and things like that. So outside of that, just getting the year started. We got crazy shit happening, with this election stuff. We still got COVID and all that stuff. So 2021 has just basically, like I post on Facebook, it's already said, here, hold my beer.
Yeah, just hunker down. But in the meantime, check out some Seedless Tendency, and that'll definitely brighten your day a little bit. G-Man, as always, we love having you on, talking football, and just shooting the S. And unfortunately, we don't have too many more weeks left of this joyous season.
Yeah.
No worries. Hey, and good news too is the Sunday games. I'll be generating a video, and everybody could find out my 3 picks for the Sunday games on Facebook. I'll get that over to you.
Awesome. Yeah,
Awesome,
we'll post that on our Facebook page. Thanks again, Grady. When we come back, we're headed into the final segment of the show. It is time for This Day in History. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a few.
See you.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm Paul George of the Indiana Pacers. When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. So I want you to learn to spot a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. I'm Paul George. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media, the future of broadcasting. Explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix radio show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. Well, folks, we made it almost to the end of the week and almost to the end of the show. Yes, it is the final segment of this episode of the Kristian Fenix radio show on a Friday, January 8th. Now, if you missed a portion of the show, you want to go back and catch up on any of the previous shows, it's easy enough to do so. Head over to phoenixmedia.us, click on the show's link, scroll on down to the Kristian Fenix radio show. From there, you can get video, you can get audio as well, or head over to wherever you get podcasts, whether it's Apple, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, Anchor Breaker, TuneIn, iHeart, Doozer, Dozer, Geezer, Gozer.
Are you a god?
And we're doomed to start the weekend. Folks, while you're there, be sure to subscribe. That way you always have the latest episode. Leave a review. Let us know what you think and tell your friends. Because why, Tony?
Sharing is caring. I thought I was going to shrink my throat.
Sharing is caring.
I'll get you next time, Gadget. Next time.
Folks, it is the final segment of the show, and as we do each and every day, we like to drop a little knowledge on you, hopefully make you laugh at the same time. It is time for This Day in History.
Crossing the globe for the stories that turn the world on its head. It's This Day in History with your correspondent on the beat,
Kristian Fenix.
All right, kicking off with this day in 871, the Battle of Ashdown, with Ethelred of Wessex and his brother Alfred the Great beat invading Danish army. Ooh, a Danish army sounds delicious.
Ooh, Danish, yeah, I like.
Hopefully they have some vicious bear claws.
Dude, and why in the hell? I've been in Nevada almost a week. I have not gotten any of my donuts on.
Hey, Donut Bistro's open.
Donut Bistro, donuts to go.
They don't advertise or sponsor the show, but we're willing to throw that out there because it is so delicious.
I'm going to try that, I think, today.
I don't blame you. Don't blame you at all. Moving on, this day in 1610, Simon Marius, a German astronomer, independently discovers the first 3 moons of Jupiter just one day after Galileo. Obviously,
Galileo, Jupiter.
We talked about that yesterday, and oddly enough, that just one day apart that they discovered it. I don't know, maybe he was peeking over Galileo's shoulder.
Yeah. What I like here too is like, so you give the historic discovery to Simon Marius, but then they show Galileo's picture. Like not only was he was first, didn't matter, but he also gets the picture on this day in history.
Poor Marius.
Oh, Marius.
This day in 1790, the first U.S. President, George Washington, delivers the very first State of the Union address. Obviously, he could only do that in person. I'm sure they wrote it down, but there was no TV, there was no radio, so only a few people knew what the actual State of the Union was at that given time.
You know, it'd be weird in the spirit of time travel today. Like, what if you could time travel back and see George Washington? Would he really look like that? That'd be weird.
I assume he did. I mean, obviously they had painters who could,
Could you imagine walking around with that little hairstyle with that like parted down on the sides and it's all curly? Or is it a wig? Like...
I think it's a wig. I would want to take a look at those wooden teeth that you hear about.
Yeah, like I don't want to interrupt history or anything, but it'd be so cool if you could time travel, not mess with anything, but just observe. Like they couldn't see you, but you could see them, kind of a thing. Like you could be a watcher. God, that'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Because I don't want to mess with anything. I've seen too many time travel movies.
But the butterfly effect.
Yeah, I don't want that. Do not want that. But yeah, it'd be cool to see because you only see paintings of him.
Yep.
Be interesting to see what he really looks like.
Yeah, you want to crack a joke around him just to see him smile.
It's funny. Then you scroll down and there's poor Alex Trebek, and then now I'm picturing Alex Trebek with the thing.
With a mustache or without a mustache?
No, without on like the picture. I don't know if you get the same ad when you scroll down.
No.
Okay.
All right. Moving on, this day in 1806, Lewis and Clark find the skeleton of a 105-foot blue whale in Oregon. Again, that would have been something amazing to see.
Absolutely. These guys were fun explorers. Like I loved in history class reading about them and their adventures. I loved the Lewis and Clark Trail. Just the journey, and mainly because I'm a West Coast guy, and a lot of that took place in the Midwest to the actual West Coast. So
yeah.
Definitely great history there.
Fun history. Speaking of great history, this day in 1816, Sophie Germain is the first woman to win a prize from the Paris Academy of Sciences for her paper on elasticity.
Ooh,
always great to see these early women pioneers who were making it in areas of work that were primarily dominated by men.
Yeah, I know it's animated, but if the rendition's right, she was probably a cute gal back then.
Yeah.
Looks a little Disney-ish. I like it.
A little bit, yeah. Moving on, this day in 1877, Crazy Horse and his warriors fight their last battle with the United States Cavalry at Wolf Mountain. Native American history would be so interesting to study, just to see, obviously the warring factions who decided to side with the U.S. government, those who went against it. Unfortunately, I don't know as much as I probably should about it.
They are making it. I mean, they've been doing this forever down in South Dakota, big Crazy Horse monument. It's not completely done, but yeah, it's always neat.
Very cool. Very cool. This day in 1902, this is a strange one. New York State Assemblyman Francis G. Landon gets a bill passed to criminalize men turning around on a street and looking at a woman in that way.
That way?
How do you enforce that?
No. I saw you were looking at her that way.
No, I wasn't looking at her that way. I was looking at her this way.
Looking the other way. Now, is that an artist painting or is that an actual photograph from the 1900s?
That is a colorized photograph.
Okay, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Moving on, this day in 1918, Mississippi becomes the first state to ratify the 18th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, authorizing the prohibition of alcohol. It was a sad, sad day. So sad.
You will know the prohibition of alcohol.
Moving on, this day in 1948, hopefully I can get these names right. Queen Wilhelmina signs the death sentence against Ons van Dijk for treason.
Hey,
treason.
I buy it. You sent it. I'm reading it. It looks like you read it right.
Close enough. I want to know what he did and why he's named Ons van Dijk.
Ons van Dijk. Hey, Queen of Netherlands, you look like a Campbell Soup lady. Hey, Ons van Dijk, I'll be here all week. Yeah, right? Looks like a Campbell Soup kid.
Moving on, this day in 1956, heavenly birthday, Elvis Presley's Don't Be Cruel and Hound Dog single goes #1 and stays #1 for a record 11 weeks. That's a hell of a birthday present.
Thank you very much. I think we were going to say in 1953, like when I'm scrolling, I saw Renee Mayer forms French government, and I thought of your mom.
Yeah.
Renee Mayer forms French government. Oui, oui, woo, woo, Mrs. Mayer.
She was ahead of her time.
Yeah.
This day in 1962, 21-year-old future Hall of Fame golfer Jack Nicklaus makes his first professional appearance, tied 50th in the Los Angeles Open. You know, my favorite golfer is Arnold Palmer, just because of his drink.
The drink is delish.
It's so good.
So good. Wake up.
Skipping ahead a little bit, just because we're trying to, we've got 3 minutes to round things out. This day in 1978, Harvey Milk becomes the first openly gay person elected to public office in California. If you want to learn about his history, there was a great movie starring
Sean Penn.
Sean Penn,
Yep.
exactly.
There's my useless knowledge coming into play.
It's funny because I can picture Sean Penn in my head when I was reading it, but I only see his character from Friends.
Gotcha.
Don't know why.
It just throws you off.
This day in 1986, Willie McCovey is 16th elected to the Hall of Fame in his first year. Of course, first ballot Hall of Famers are hard to come by, but there are some that truly deserve it, like Willie McCovey.
Absolutely. Fantastic, legendary giant.
Totally. Let's see. Speaking of giants, this day in 1993, Michael Jordan's game-high 35 points leads Chicago to a 120-95 win over Milwaukee. Gives him exactly 20,000 points in 620th game in the NBA career. Second fastest to reach that milestone after Wilt Chamberlain.
That's fantastic. If you ever get a chance, I recommend this to anybody. You don't have to be a basketball fan, but if you grew up in that era, The Last Dance, with that whole documentary, fantastic series.
Check it out. Absolutely. And then finally, on this day in history, this day in 1998, the Unabomber suspect Ted Kaczynski asks to act as his own lawyer.
I did not do that.
That would have been a crazy trial to watch.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
He was a weirdo.
And folks, before we head out into the weekend, let's run down some of today's holidays. And this is the point where I'd normally, and Tony would cut me off. Of course, I created that in tribute to him before we had an actual soundbite. But nonetheless,
Oh yeah.
let's run down those holidays. Today is National Argyle Day. Bust out those Argyle
Hey,
songs.
Argyle. When you say that, I think of the limo driver from Die Hard.
Totally.
Hey, Argyle.
Today is Bubble Bath Day.
Ooh.
That sounds nice. Earth's Rotation Day. I would hope that would be every day.
It is, and it's moving fast. We're going to have to give some seconds back.
It is National English Toffee Day.
Oh, it's English toffee. Maybe on my way down to the bistro, I'll get me one.
Today is National Man Watchers Day.
Ooh, I have no interest in that. But ladies, that's all for you.
It is National Winter Skin Relief Day.
Now watch The Winter Soldier.
Show and Tell Day at work.
Ooh,
okay.
Look at this.
And War on Poverty Day. Folks, that does it for this week's worth of episodes. Join us on Monday with a brand new episode. In the meantime, enjoy your weekend, folks.
Have a good weekend, everybody. Peace.